He was called the Fortune's favorite and the chronic optimist. The author of The Barber of Seville adored to have a tasty meal, was married to the most beautiful opera prima donna, and was panic-stricken with the railway. A great Italian composer, Gioachino Rossini, was one of the most picturesque persons in the history of world classical music. Joaquin was born in 1792 in a poor family as the son of Italian orchestral player and the singer of vagrant opera troupe. It is considered that to be born on February 29th is very lucky, but when Joaquin was still a child, his father was arrested for Republican sites, and his mother had to go with third-rate performances to small towns. Nevertheless, since the age of 12, the boy was trained in music. Joaquin had a rare, appealing voice, and he sang in church chorus of the native small town of Pizarro. And at the age of 14, he became the conductor and the choir master of an opera troupe. At the age of 16, he wrote the first cantata. Having finished the musical Lyceum of Bologna, Rossini polished his composite technique, working at a small Venetian theater. The first opera of 17-year-old Rossini was a success, and soon he received the invitation to hold the post of the musical art director of San Carlo in Naples. However, the former maestro did not want to yield easily to the ambitious greenhorn and challenged Joaquin to a duel, but Joaquin preferred not to respond. Through the contracts with entrepreneurs of Bologna and Venice, the composer created several operas annually. Searching for their plots, Rossini read dozens of books. When the composer was inspired with Beaumarch's comedy, he wrote music to the opera of The Barber of Seville. It seems incredible, but the composition which became the top achievement of the opera buff genre and is adored both by the professionals and amateurs, aristocrats and craftsmen, Rossini composed in just 2 weeks. And though the first night appeared unsuccessful, the subsequent performances on all stages of Italy brought a triumphal success to 24-year-old Rossini. Music was not the only passion of cheerful Joaquin. He was fond of cookery, was selflessly engaged in preparation of various dishes, and received the best friends in the kitchen. Once visitors began to praise highly The Barber of Seville, and Rossini publicly declared that the pâté, which he had just prepared under his own recipe, was more successful than his opera. Stendhal repeatedly upbraided the stout Rossini for his gluttony, but the maestro did not especially care of the appearance. The ingenious Italian considered both the high cookery and the fine music as two trees from one root. Some of his compositions Rossini wrote without leaving a kitchen range. The composer said, "The stomach is a conductor who operates a huge orchestra of our passions." When Rossini was about 30 years old, he decided to substitute bachelor revelries for a regular family life. A charming opera prima donna, Isabella Colbran, became his favorite. Loving Joaquin gave the main parties in several new operas to his wife. But Isabella began to sing out of tune. Flexibility and splendor of her voice were gone. It depressed her, and trying to avoid the depression which captured her, Colbran took a great interest in a card play. It became one of the reasons of their divorce. Besides, Rossini met Olympia Pellissier, who became his second wife and a muse. In 1823, Rossini visited England, where he was hospitably accepted by King George VI. The maestro bathed in beams of glory. The city council of a small town of Pizarro even decided to erect a lifetime monument to him. Having known the cost of the statue, the incorrigible merry fellow Rossini resolutely declared his countrymen, "I assure you that for 20,000 lires, I will gladly stand myself instead of a monument." Soon the talented Italian received the invitation to head an opera troupe in Paris. There in 1830, the composer created his opera William Tell. But after Revolution, the troupe was dismissed, and at the same time they canceled the lifelong allowance of the composer. Then the 37-year-old Rossini quite unexpectedly interrupted his career. What was the reason? The insult that he was deprived of the stable income? An aversion of German composer Meyerbeer? A new opera idol? Keenness on cuisine? Or Rossini's inconceivable laziness? All these were more or less reliable rumors, but public has not heard any new melody of the composer within the whole 30 years. Wisely estimating his place among the new currents of European music, the maestro said, "Why should I compose in my old age? Should that tired, aged Rossini compete with the young Rossini?" He devoted a cycle of secretly created romances to the wife, his kind and patient Olympia. The composer named his last collection of plays with the playful title of Sins of My Old Age. He died in Paris in 1868. Under Rossini's last will, there was built a house for aged singers for his money. In the boarding house, the dishes prepared under his recipes are served every year on the date of his death. Only men cooked that day. The optimist and a gourmet who presented the world with The Barber of Seville and William Tell liked to repeat, meal, love, singing, and digestion are the four acts of a comic opera which we refer as our life. Those who spend their life without pleasures are the complete fools.